NVDA.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief, our public show. If anything, I needed to be reminded, we will be doing primarily a Q&A that I didn't do yesterday in the after party here today. And then actually maybe a fun assignment. Who thinks that they understand what the hell just happened in crypto overnight? We got at least I got a very brief report from Stewart. I suppose he'll talk about it in length in the Panicook report. I think we're back on schedule for tomorrow, Tuesdays. So I'm sure he will give us the full details. But if any of you can explain in simple terms what the hell just happened there with that guy burning all his tokens, I did see you guys chit-chatting about it in the lounge, but unfortunately that's way beyond my pay grade. But if I understand correctly, somebody did something that was a big no-no. And how ironic, right? The tweets that I've been putting out here recently, and they always say you can't write better fiction than reality. It's absolutely impossible. But a lot of my commentary of late has been things like where is this one that I did a while ago? Where it is. But anyway, I had sort of said, I think a lot of new people to crypto are going to get a very ugly reminder of what this space is like. Is it a hack? Is it a scam? You just never know. And you, like we said, you can't write better fiction than reality. But does it not make sense now? We're gonna have a Hitler voiceover of now this guy burning. It was something like a $10 million worth of tokens or something like that. I mean, you can see it coming. I can't wait for whoever it's going to be that's actually going to do the voiceover or whatever. And then of course there's Eddie. What the hell is this Eddie? Crazy guy. Anyway, so if I understand correctly, we have now officially got our latest hack disaster. I don't think you call it a fraud. I don't think it was a scam. I mean, it would be funny if we found out after the fact that the whole damn thing was intentional. But what a surprise. Anyway, do we have any volunteers? Anybody going to step up and say, this is what happened? All right, so Glass Insights posted. Looks like there's some sort of internet page that will explain what the hell's going on here. And how ironic it was done on Solana, eh? Isn't that interesting? Why I don't want to open that up now. Anyway, so Solana meme coin SLERF accidentally burns $10 million worth of funds raised from pre-sale investors. And then what I thought was interesting was Fjord was saying that I guess because these coins were burned, that there's some sort of lack of supply or something now. And the price went absolutely skyrocketing through the roof. And there were some people who were like, thank you, you just made my life. So I don't know. It doesn't surprise me. And if anything, and Brian kind of wet blanket, you can, this stuff literally writes itself. I mean, there's no way we could have come up with a story like this ahead of time, right? This is why they always say you can't write better fiction than reality. So thank you very much, Glass Insights, for that post. And it just goes to show that you could almost smell like, this is venture capital, this whole crypto space. So you have to, and it is like quote unquote unregulated. So you have to, at any given point in time, expect disaster around the corner, which kind of sucks, as I think a lot of people that get into this space and get into this business think it's a happy-go-lucky, easy profession. And as my old boss, Johnny Hoagland, used to always say, this is the profession where you literally get paid to worry. The more you worry, probably the better your trade setup is. And actually, we even had a pretty good example of that in the futures this morning. Of course, Brian's just doing his little fun little futures trading nonsense in the stock market with shorts on the stock market. So, we had really interesting inside bars that came in at ATR levels. So this was, I had 2 out of the 3 reasons to justify my 3-step setup here. Had I had a really nice indicator confirmation, I didn't really have that good of an indicator confirmation through this, so it wasn't like, oh, this is totally awesome. So I just strapped on a paper trade. You can see selling short here, a couple contracts. I was exceedingly pleased to hear that our show producer director strapped on actually a couple big boys on this thing, a live trade, and made some money on it. So way to go, show director producer. Nice trading. I also did take things like the opening range trade here this morning on crude, which turned out to be like about $20-$30 profit. Nothing really to get too excited about. Market was moving in my favor. I took profits at 1-to-1 on one of my contracts. Should I have waited for my 2.618? Probably, but hindsight's, of course, always 2020. Had my next order working up at the second take profit level, but as you can see, we never got there. We melted back down to the entry. Interesting how through the retail open, they put in the same bottom that they put in through the pit open there. And as you can see, looking back in hindsight, it turns out that long was the direction to go today. But live by the sword, die by the sword. This is my fun little opening range trade setup, so I just have to follow the rules. And it was a fairly wide range, so I didn't want to strap on too much. I'm allowed to do 3 contracts at 25 ticks. Anyway, business as usual. At least I took a couple bucks from the market. I didn't give the market back anything. And as I said, we actually had a really cute little short setup come in on the stock market. And I have been sort of humming and hawing. This was just a couple contracts, short 2 off of the inside bar fail at the ATR level. It worked its way down. We had to sit here humming and hawing for probably about a half an hour or so, just waiting for this thing to decide what it wanted to do. And it was kind of an interesting open in that if we actually look at like the broader market, it's not really broad-based participation here. There's more like very select few stocks were moving up here. What do I want to show you? And I might just get stopped at scratch on the remainder here. It wouldn't surprise me. Stock market is fairly firm here today. I just have to find the screen that I want to show you guys. Is it this one? Yeah, here we are. So it was a few names. I mean, it's interesting to see Tesla's finally moving up after just getting drubbed here recently. But interesting, Apple and NVDA and stuff like that, they were actually moving up smartly. You can see they've kind of backed off. The Goog's pretty strong here today. I don't know whether I didn't actually see the specific news about the Goog. But if we look at sort of the matrix of stocks, you can see Apple just absolutely jumped right out of the gate here this morning. Huge gap higher. And also not really that much, but Alibaba had a little bit of a bid in it this morning. As I said, I think the big sort of beneficiary first thing out of the gate this morning was Google. Had a huge jump there. Obviously, specific news. I don't know the news just off the top of my head. My apologies. Wasn't really paying too close of attention there. Interesting to see that the semiconductors are kind of running out of steam here. They're not kind of leading. And NVIDIA up here at just absolute ridiculous nosebleed levels. actually kind of faltering a little bit here. Of course, we've talked lots about this, coming into this eclipse window. Probably the best place for us to look at this is on crypto. But, we're awfully late in this bull run. You heard me go on at length yesterday, blah, 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 blah. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. I would actually argue in the stock market, it's basically the same thing. We are doing a complete reworking of the DI and the algo on the site, basically starting from scratch just to make sure everything is actually calculating correctly. So that's why I happen to have this on the screen. This is a trading view version of that. But anyway, just looking at this chart, and interestingly enough, our algo here is starting to spit out M's, not really very happy right now. But even if we just look at that chart, I mean, does that look like it's gone a little bit too far, too fast? Look at the size of this gap right here. So my hunch is probably at some point down the future, we're going to have to trade back and fill in that gap. And I mean, even if you do simple things like 50% rules, WD GAN 101, keep it simple, stupid. There is, believe it or not, a year ago levels. So actually here, why don't we go off of these lows, right? So there's March, and then we have to jump up. Maybe for the purposes of this study, let's go off of that level there. So, I mean, just ridiculous. We mentioned a gap there, but look at this one here. So, but just on balance, what should you expect? Yeah, at any given point in time, I always talk to you guys about this. You should expect at least a 38.2 retracement. And really, WD GAN, a good old 50% rollover sort of annual basis. So, whether it be something like, where's Colin? Colin and his pump chasers. There we are. Oh, that looks backwards. Let's try that again. Hey, there we are. Oh, what a surprise. 38.2 is right into that gap. I mean, how shocking is that? I mean, this is so cliche, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, I don't know whether we have to come all the way back down here. What would be interesting is my hunch is that this gap right here is probably reload zone kind of talk. And I'd also say, too, this is probably a huge horizontal support and resistance level. What do you think the odds are that that's right into a reload zone? I bet you're probably pretty good. So I guess the way that I would look at this is, I suppose, if you were so lucky to actually get a reload zone tag. Oh yeah, look at that. There's 78.6. Basically, Brian's favorite fib is right in that zone. That would probably represent one hell of a buying opportunity. Is that like a nuclear bomb go off somewhere to cause some sort of absolutely insane shock to the system? I don't know. I mean, I suppose that doofus over there in Russia, he just appointed himself czar for another 6 years over there. So I suppose, just if anything, you have to feel really sad for the Russian people. They really had an opportunity to move towards democracy and freedom and all that. And these, he's basically part of their mafioso secret service, all that kind of crap. He's unwound all of the sort of benefits of that. What did they used to call it? They called it the Velvet Revolution. And he's basically just unwound everything about that. You have to feel so sad for the Russian people. It's pretty sad. I mean, there's really nothing a stupid Canadian can make reference other than that, other than the fact that, geez, I sure hope my country doesn't head down that same damn path. And the way the guy in power right now in my country, he's trying to move in that direction. I get the impression, though, that the Canadians are rising up against him. But anyway, we'll see. Only time will tell. I guess the point here is, kind of like our conversation about crypto. And you can't write better fiction than reality. I mean, you just don't know what the cause is going to be that will cause this technical correction, but you can see it coming 100 miles away. Probably first stop targets, this would be down the road if those first stop targets, 50% rules, all that kind of stuff start failing. I'd probably say just to, frame your expectations going forward. My hunch is that's probably a good sort of starting point where should we expect this market to correct once all this nonsense is behind us. Thank you, sir. So, and also too, of course, we've got these big celestial events that Cole has been warning us about. So, what a big surprise. We'll probably have the market come up and put some sort of top in through all of this. We also have a FOMC coming up here relatively shortly. I think it's in like basically this week. So we got the eclipse window, we got the FOMC coming up, and of course we got a big Bitcoin halving event, which shouldn't affect this thing, but in a weird sort of way, I think it's all sort of interconnected. So, you can see the writings on the walls, and the irony of it all is you can't write better fiction than reality. You could have sat down and said, what is going to be the reason why crypto pukes out here? And I bet if you polled 100 people, nobody would have said, well, it's going to turn out that some guy's going to lose an absolutely staggering amount of money on one of these, wait, this was on the Solana network and all that, right? If I'm not mistaken. As I said, if anything, tune in to tomorrow's Daily Brief After Party. We should have a lot of fun talking with Stuart. He'll know the story backwards. And of course, some of the community here, you guys are uber smart. You probably know it way better than I ever would. Just trying to finish off the conversation today. We are heading into an FOMC event. Probably this isn't the best screen to finish off on here. Just trying to think about all of these sort of events coming up here. We have FOMC. Actually, I don't even think that's on here. Maybe I have that over here. Yeah, here we go. We have the lunar eclipses. You can see Willie's stupid. MACD's already in bear div. The sellers have stepped up. Buyers have kind of backed away here. It'd be interesting if we have an update today, but on very low volume, that might actually be the catalyst for the bulls to have officially fallen asleep. RSI hasn't gone into divergence just yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's one more push higher here through this whole eclipse window. And if anything, you see that the stock markets are up. Why are they up? I think China is actually feeling pretty good about itself. Some of the Chinese data came out, and you got to give hats off to kudos to Stuart. He was, I'm feeling bullish of China these days. Of course, you know how I feel about communist dictatorships and investing your hard-earned money in mafioso scams. I think that's a total waste of your time. Having said that, and actually interesting to see on these like China ETFs, we are now starting to get bear divs starting to form. We actually had Willie Stupid here. So could we have one more push up? Maybe. I mean, the Econs coming out of China, if you can believe any of it. Keep in mind, I mean, is it possible that China could possibly lie about their economic data? So, just understand that a lot of this stuff is just, it's just absolute outright fraud. Which I suppose makes sense. I mean, this 21st century, I think one of the hallmarks is going to be how fraudulent our society and the corrupting of this technology and the interneting and all that crap that's helped facilitate all the blatant lies. But the point of the matter here is data coming out of China is fairly robust. Is it believable? Who fucking knows? But it is sort of stabilizing, if you will, this sort of conversation around sort of world economy. Interesting to see things like the Eurozone. They're actually talking about how it's pretty firm here as well. And on balance, the U.S. market actually, it's not bad. Also, too, remember, buy when it snows, sell when it goes. This is usually the best time in the market. Usually prices are uppy, but also remember, too, and this is probably one of the things that will derail this bull, is, the old crude oil trade, right? Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. And I've just noticed that the crude oil market is extremely strong here right now. So if we look at the crude, I showed you that opening range trade. Would have liked to have been able to stay long, but it's a setup, and if you get stopped at scratch, you get stopped at scratch. That's the way it goes. But the point here is if we look at things like the daily chart, please understand that if you are an FOMC member and you're humming and hawing about what to do about interest rates, well, that is extremely inflationary, folks. I mean, the good part about this is you as TRIers and um, well, anyway, you all should look at this and go, well, we can see exactly where the hell they want to take this crude. So I don't think that this is done by a long shot. Now, is there any way that the Fed can actually lower interest rates in the face of that? If China is technically coming back online, does that mean that, keep in mind, it's the Chinese that use all the crude here. In North America, the Americans actually supply their own crude. They don't need to buy crude from Saudi Arabia or Iran. They got their own crude. In fact, the Americans, they're producing like record amounts of crude oil and natural gas right now. So it's certainly not a story out of them. The Americans are actually net exporters, not importers. So what would be driving this price up? And if the scuttlebutt out of China is accurate, that their economy is coming back online and they're starting to grow again, well, guess what? That oil price is going to jump up, which is very inflationary. And of course, you were supposed to buy your unleaded the middle of February. So the seasonal trade is doing its thing, and the seasonal trade doesn't top out until the end of May, right? The May 2-4 weekend. That's the official kickoff of the summer driving season. So you can kind of see, I mean, who knows how this goes, but I don't see any reason why crude can't work its way higher. And so as a result, if you're thinking that the Fed's going to lower interest rates anytime soon, I think you're sadly mistaken. It just, that right there is a hugely bullish event. It's interesting how this pivot right here in the market is actually coming off of one of Johnny Hoagland's pivot levels. I have a funny feeling that's going to actually act as support now going forward. So if you were hoping for lower interest rates, forget about it. If you were hoping for lower crude oil prices, forget about it. From what I think we'll probably leave the conversation at that for today. I could go on and on. Obviously what doofus over there in Russia is doing, that's not going to help the oil situation. Of course, the Ukrainians, they're going after all the oil facilities, so that's not going to help the oil is actually really coming back online. That should actually add a bid to this market, and I don't see any tops there anytime soon. So as a result, if we actually look, finish off this conversation with, haven't looked at this in a bit. Not a bad idea to check in here on this. If we go and look at things like the bond market, interest rates. Look how the US dollar is just screaming higher here. Because if this crude oil market is legit and it's serious, and the stock market is also booming here because earnings are doing pretty good. And oh God, there's another conversation we could go into. But the point here is that you can see that the interest rate environment, and usually they say the 2-year note follows what they're expecting the Fed to do. So what do you think? Does it look like the market's expecting the Fed to lower interest rates anytime soon? If these prices go down, it means interest rates is going up. So, you put it all together. Don't expect any reprieve out of the interest rate market anytime soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if the market's going, the Americans are probably going to have to raise interest rates again if this oil market is absolutely out of control. So. Okay, I think we'll leave the public commentary at that. We're going to head on over to the after party and answer the questions that I wasn't able to get to from the broiler chicken show yesterday. You can see crypto is looking awfully heavy. I have a feeling probably the space is going to try and handle this little mini crisis. Hopefully it gets resolved positively. But what a great example. We know that the market is awfully close to some sort of pivot. And what the actual reason was that's actually going to cause these markets to top and maybe start melting back down, you can't write better fiction than reality. There's no way you could have scripted this. You just have to roll with the chalk marks. And the point here was that you should not have been a buyer up top here anyway. And if anything, all of us in crypto land, we should probably just cool our jets and let all the dust settle here for the next little bit and just sit and count your profits because, gee whiz, as I've said repeatedly here, I sure hope you've paid yourself for all of your hard-earned efforts. I mean, look at that beautiful W down there. And we've been barking all through 2023. Did you get your shit together and all that? And now it's payday. All right. I sure hope you're paying yourself. Anyway. All right. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Hugs and kisses. Make sure don't take no wooden nickels. All the best and bye for now.